Welcome to the shop, and in this episode we have the rise of Daya, the underdog villain, and of course Carrie Colby thrown under the bus, because why not? Then Jasmine solidified as the narrator of the season. She's going to be our spicy Jen. A ton of production magic for the challenge, of course, then the Cryptiques, the Lipsync, and the speculations as usual. I don't have a confessional chart because I didn't have time to do that, which is really a pity because Jasmine narrated the whole episode. So, we are back in the workroom and it's time to introduce the narrative for the episode. Daya is a villain again, so we have a confessional of Jasmine coming out of nowhere saying, well, you know, it was okay that Camden won, but Daya didn't deserve the win. She's taking a dump on Daya right in the beginning. But don't get confused, because a fraction of a second later, the editing is already telling you who is the villain here. Because we have a completely humanized picture of Jasmine. We have a ton of queens giving her credit. We have a throwback to Untucked, the moment she came out as a trans woman and she accepted herself. And we also have Carrie Colby coming in a confessional praising Jasmine. So don't get it twisted. Daya is the villain here. Jasmine is the one calling her out. It's a new day in the workroom and the library is open. But we don't have the snatch game. Why don't we have the snatch game? The two things always go hand in hand. Instead, we have like this girl group challenge, retro hit, whatever it is. What am I complaining about? At least we have some good reads. Differently from season 13, these queens can read each other's.
Lady Camden. I've learned so much from Lady Camden. Did you know in British, fag means cigarette? It's crazy. So can somebody send this cigarette home?
Lady Camel Toe. Next time you want to be masculine on the runway, leave the mustache at home. Your jawline is enough.
Jasmine.
Oh, God.
You are one brain-dead slut. You put the bottom in lobotomy.
Little Miss Georges. The tiniest little waste of time. Serena Cha-Cha. Georges, we know you're skinny and you need to eat, but unfortunately Orion's ass is not on the food pyramid.
From now on, I'm going to call Georges Georgina Cha-Cha. If we are all okay with that. She's now officially Georgina Cha-Cha. Ru announces the Maxi Challenge and will be performing as a group for a retro hit. The girls will have to write lyrics and create a choreography and then perform everything not on the main stage, on set. They actually do it on set. Production lets the girl choose what they want to do, and you know, at the end of the day, who cares, because they are going to judge them individually. There is really no point in manipulating the group, so they basically let them do whatever they want. Everybody is talking. Then at some point you see Lady British raising her hand and saying, stop everybody, let's go in order, one by one, and you tell me what you want to do. Of course, the first one talking is Daya. She's like, let's start with me. I want bad boy.
Okay, so I'm just saying it now, bitch. I want bad boy.
I want bad boy. I want bad boy.
Everyone go one by one. Let's go around and
Okay,
say
I'll
what
start
we
with
want.
me. I want bad boy.
After that, we have Daya repeating like 50 times that she wants bad boy. She's not going to settle for anything less. Like, other people are talking, other people are saying other things, then she comes out of nowhere saying, I want bad boy. It's like, imagine you go to a fuel station to get a package of cigarette. There is Daya behind you saying that she still wants bad boy.
Well, someone needs to bow out for something.
I'm sticking to bad boy. I'm not changing my mind. I'm not
Pretty much
changing my
digging
mind.
my claws into bad boy as well.
I'm literally not changing my mind on this one.
In the background, you hear Jasmine saying, well, why don't we rock, paper, scissors that? And Daya is like, she didn't even finish the sentence. Daya is like, no. No.
Y'all are gonna have to rock, paper, scissors.
No, bitch.
So at this point, we are intercepted by a confessional from Jasmine, because Jasmine not only is the narrator of Daya villain edit, she is the narrator of the season. We finally nailed her down. And she confirms Daya is being a baby. She just wants what she wants, and she is sure to make everybody knows that she wants the bad boy song. At this point, Angeria asks, is nobody willing to sacrifice? And of course, Daya in the background. I am not. I am not.
Nobody's willing to sacrifice?
I'm not.
God damn, bitch, y'all some hard bitches, girl. Damn.
I am not changing.
No.
Deja, thank God for Deja, coming out and saying, well, you know what? I can give it up. I can give it up. I can do the other one with Georgina Cha-Cha and Jasmine. Of course, we have a confessional of Daya coming in and saying, well, Deja is doing some kumbaya. and she is taking the safe way out. What does she mean by safe way out? I have no idea.
Deja is doing a little kumbaya-ing. She's taking the safe way out. I hope that the group that she goes with ends up working well together.
It's like passive-aggressive much, but no, it's actually a joke. And the editors make sure that we see that she is joking, because they let her finish. Don't forget that. She is not just the villain, she's our underdog villain.
I hope that the group that she goes with ends up working well together. Actually, I don't hope that.
Do you remember when I told you? It's very rare that the edit actually creates things out of nowhere. Sometimes they do. They really take things out of context to basically create a dynamic that doesn't exist. But most of the time they take what it's there and they exaggerate it. But they need something to be there in the first place. So this is just another example that Daya Betty is there. She has like this cutthroat approach. She doesn't give a shit about anything. She is literally me. She has... You know, she has a huge ego. She has it. And the edit is making sure that we see all of that. Because from a different perspective, Daya Betty and Jasmine, this dynamic that they have between each other, they are basically holding the show. It's a Daya Jasmine show. It's a good thing that we have Daya Betty in there. At least the show is entertaining from that point of view. What's the next scene? Ooh, recording the vocals. Of all the groups, we only see 2 girls. We are missing a third. For Angeria, Carrie, and Lady, we only see Angeria and Carrie. Angeria is doing good, somehow Carrie is not doing good. Well, wait a moment, but Carrie can actually sing. She can hold a tune, a beautiful voice, and she was actually putting some personality into the song, you know? She was doing something interesting with her voice, apart from the fact that Michelle at some point went to her and said, well, you should make it simpler. It was oh shady all on its own, but Carrie is portrayed in a negative way. We don't see Lady Camden, and you want to know why? Well, because later on during the Cryptiques, Carlson is going to tell us indirectly what happened during her rehearsal. If you see the image, you know that it wasn't good. Bosco, Daya Betty, and Willow. We do not see Willow. I like to believe that she was good, but I have no information here to actually know what was going on with Willow. But Bosco and Daya Betty are doing very well. Then we have Deja, Georgina Chacha, and Jasmine. Now, we don't see Jasmine, but we saw Jasmine in the workroom, so we know that she's not good. She is like tone deaf. There's no going around that. She cannot sing. She cannot sing. She doesn't only look like Alyssa Edwards, she also sounds like Alyssa Edwards. Deja is doing fairly well, and George's, it's basically, it's a shit show. Georgina is trying. Doesn't matter how hard she tries, it's just terrible. So at some point, Michelle tells her, listen, Georges, you were born to do... No, she doesn't say that. But she says, listen, Georges, why don't you do a spoken word kind of thing? And I will add, well, because she was born to do drag, so of course she is allowed to do a spoken word. Jasmine? No. Jasmine, go fuck yourself. You were not born to do drag. You cannot do a spoken word. The favoritism is far too much this episode. Then we move on to choreo. Bosco's, Daya Betty, and Willow, they are doing fantastic. Then we have Angeria, Lady, British, and Carrie, which is a so-and-so. It's half and half. Some are good, some are not that good. And then Georgina, Jasmine, and Deja, who are apparently doing bad, despite the fact that you have 2 trained dancers in there. But the edit is telling you they're doing bad. We basically end this session with recording the vocals, the rehearsal, and we already know which group is going to win and which group is probably going to be in the bottom. Point is, they will not judge them as group, and that it's quite convenient. It's a new day in the workroom, and we have a couple of mirror moments. One mirror moment for Lady British. This is her second mini mirror moment. I don't know if we should count it as one whole mirror moment at this point. I'm just going to call them 2 mini mirror moments. And then we have another mirror moment for Carrie. This is the 3rd mirror moment for Carrie, and by the end of the episode she will be eliminated. It's very rare that you see a queen going home without a mirror moment. I mean, unless you are Utica and you ask RuPaul to stand up for the camera, you are probably going to get at least 1 mirror moment. Some queens will get 2, but no queens, to my knowledge, has ever had 3 mirror moments and then went home, this is something unique to Carrie. And at some point I started to get curious. Why did you need to give her 3 mirror moments? Could it be that maybe they wanted to be sure to get no backlash for sending her home? It's like, okay, we're going to send her home. We're going to overlook her professionally. But at least we're gonna put her full front emotionally so that you can connect to her. By the time the 3rd mirror moment came on, I was quite sure they were going to definitely go for the shock value and send her home. Something else happens during this moment in the workroom, because it's time for another chapter in the Daya versus Jasmine storyline, and this thing has been spanning like 4 episodes. And thank God for it, because it's basically everything that we have going on. Daya asks Jasmine, "Hey Jasmine, where did your read for me comes from?" Because Jasmine read her that she is two-faced. And I was like, Jasmine, she's 3-faced. What are you saying? She comes also through a confessional, because we need to have the message very clear, saying, "I want to know, what did I do to her?" And at that moment I was thinking, well, could it be that maybe it's the fact that you have been shitting on Jasmine for the past 4 episodes, that you have been ridiculing Jasmine for complaining about being safe, while Daya was going through the mental gymnastic. You know, she was like, I'm not complaining that I'm safe. I am complaining that I don't get to see the judges. Why it's important that you see the judges, so that they can give you feedback and you can be high instead of just safe. So, you know, there is a lot of mental gymnastic in there. I don't know how aware she is of all of this, but there is a ton of mental gymnastic. Jasmine responds, and she says, well, I heard that you said that I was wearing a piece of fabric, and you were not gagging on it. Of course, the edit gives us a replay of Untucked, in case you forgot, because remember, she's our underdog villain. So if Jasmine is saying something against the underdog villain, we need to confirm what Jasmine is saying. And then Daya replies, yes, I said that, she says, but I addressed it to Georges. Can you imagine that? It's like you talk shit about someone and then you tell it to your dog. You know, I addressed it with my pet while you were not here. I don't know what the fuck is going on with Daya. Somehow I think that I would really enjoy to get high with Daya. I don't know, I have this feeling that she would be a ton of fun to be wasted around. Like, wasted. Just for the things that she might say. So, Jasmine replies. And she said, well, yes, you said it to Georges, but you didn't say it to me. So at this point we see the passive-aggressive side of Daya, and it's huge, it's huge. When she wants to be passive-aggressive, girl, there's no holding back. So she goes like, well, you were busy. You were busy lip-syncing for your life, so I didn't want to bother you. In a way, it's really fucked up. In a way, I was also living. It's like the whole scene was so camp, like top to bottom. And then she continues, Jasmine, I wasn't shading your body. It was your outfit that was bad. Oh, good lord. And then we have, to tie it all together, we have a nice confessional from Jasmine saying, well, Daya is pissed because she hasn't won anything and she still hasn't apologized. It's like Jasmine wants her apology and Daya is not willing to concede anything, like anything at all. This whole scene was pure camp. What I want you to understand is that it was not really real, because if you track Daya makeup, there is so much cut and paste in there that you won't believe it, because her makeup goes backwards and forwards in time. There was like a temporal bubble around Daya. Let's move on to the challenge. How do we judge this? From an entertaining perspective, I didn't get much from it. It was kind of boring. I didn't really get the point. I don't know who these legendary girl groups are, so maybe that's on me because all the references are lost. But how do we actually judge the performance itself? That for me it's going to be incredibly difficult because the singing is auto-tuned. Then the dancing, we have no idea how much did they fuck it up, because this was filmed twice. I have no idea. Maybe a lot of people fucked up and we didn't get to see it, or maybe One queen had one slip up and it was full front just because she had to be in the bottom or not winning. It's like impossible for me to judge this challenge. What I can tell you is that I wasn't living for it. But I think that Bosco, Daya, Betty and Willow had the best lyrics overall because they had fun with it. It was kind of fucked up. It was campy. It was stupid. And it's RuPaul's Drag Race. Always go for the parody if you can. If we take also the runway into account, for me Bosco was the winner. Everybody else kind of faded in the background. So let's move on to the runway so that I can bestow to you my incredible fashion sense and fashion knowledge, don't forget that. So Willow Pill, her outfit was fucked up on a ton of different levels. I cannot describe them, I don't think YouTube is going to like it, but I understand her sense of humor and I totally get that. I was living for it. The audacity of that outfit, the audacity, only Willow could get away with something like that. I loved it. What I didn't really like is that the atomic wedgie, we already saw it last runway. Daya Betty, in her best interpretation of wannabe punk rock aesthetic. It looks like she googled punk rock for like 5 minutes on Google image search, and then whatever came out, she presented it on the runway. That was not punk rock at all. At best, it was glam rock, which is something different. It was okay, nothing to gag on, but it was okay. And to me, for once, she looked more like herself, not like Crystal. Bosco was gorgeous. She had her ass out and still managed to look classy. In a way, it was really fucked up, but I loved it. For me, she was the best on that runway. Deja, this was my favorite look for Deja. I know that a lot of people were not living for it, but I was. I love this anime, fantasy kind of dress. It works for me. I am completely sold. The details are on point. She probably made that. Everything is done to perfection. I liked her outfit. I really liked it. Enough to have her place high? I wouldn't go that far, but she was definitely wearing one of the best outfits on the runway. Then Georgina Cha-Cha, relying on that body again, because of course she would. Of course she would. She was the worst on that runway. She is the definition of stop relying on that body, and nobody is reading her for it. Because of course she was born to do drag. What is she wearing? Panties and a bra. That's the outfit. Jasmine is classy. I love the outfit. It fits perfectly. What I didn't like about her runway was the makeup. She always has this pink highlight on her cheeks that always look so strong. It's too much. I don't know if she's painting for the back of the room, but on set, from the camera, it looks too much. She needs to go a little bit lighter. This is something that she has been doing all of the time, but usually when queens paint like that, the judges give them feedback. They say, listen, you are painting for the camera, you're not painting for the back of the stage, you need to go lighter. Do you remember, we heard the judges saying something like that already. Then Angeria. Angeria was totally committed to the runway. I liked the outfit. She told a story, but it looks like the outfit was like a second thought. She had this thing lying somewhere and thought, oh, okay, what's the runway theme? Art on? Perfect. I'll slap a heart on the chest and call it a day. Then Carrie. Loved the idea, didn't like the execution, because it looks like a net. This is supposed to be veins, and veins don't have such a square, regular pattern. They follow a more kind of fractal distribution. It really looks like a fishnet, a big red fishnet. So I love the idea behind it. I think it's genius. That was the best idea on the runway. The problem is it was not executed properly. If I didn't know, I wouldn't have known that she was supposed to represent veins. And finally, Lady British. Not really excited about that. The heart and the harrow are way too big. They are distracting from everything else. And the outfit is not bad. The makeup is not bad. The wig is not bad. She looks good. The problem is she has these huge things that distracts from everything else. Okay, let's move on to the Cryptiques.
Bullshit. 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 That's bullshit. Bullshit. Bullshit.
That's a joke. Every fucking time.
I was being realistic. Realistic was bullshit. Girl, bullshit. You are a fucking liar.
This was a group challenge, but they are judged as individuals, which is very convenient. Otherwise, in the bottom, we would have had Angeria, Camden, and Carrie. Maybe Angeria just low, that it would have been Carrie versus Camden if they wanted to send Carrie home. There was no other possible way, but you cannot have Lady British in the bottom already. Let's start with Daya Betty. Michelle, you nailed it, and you were in character the entire time. And I might add, especially in the workroom. Especially in the workroom. She stood out from her group, which is a good thing. Unless you are Electroshock and Down Under. In that case, it's a bad thing, because you're not being a team player. Carlson loves the look, it's fun, it's Club Kid Couture. This is a nice way to tell her that that is not punk rock. You see how nice is Carlson? He will not come to you and tell you this is not punk rock. It will come to you and tell you, well, this is Club Kid Couture. And this is one of the reasons why I love Carlson. He is just so nice. Alex says, it doesn't look crafty. It's like saying, oh, hey, I love your makeup. You don't look busted. Then we get a little bit of push to her narrative because Michelle says, I am so excited to see the trajectory that you're on. Because unlike Alicia Keys in the premiere, Michelle looks like she didn't read Diabetes Storyline's memo. So she's excited for her trajectory. And I am excited too. Our villain underdog. And then RuPaul, Diabetes has come to play. And I might add, she has come to play the production game. Moving on to Deja. Michelle, you can sing. Then after that, everyone praises her outfit, which feels correct. I completely agree with everything. Finally, Deja gets some earned praise because it was time, so thanks the judges for that. Moving on to Jasmine. Carlson, proving is the best judge ever. Singing is not your forte, but you were selling it most of the time with joy and enthusiasm. However, there were times when we could see that you were thinking, and to me this is a very good critiques. He compliments what works, it's not like he's ignoring it, and then also gives feedback on what doesn't work, and that's exactly how everybody should judge the quiz. Recognize the talent and then give feedback. You don't have to absolutely make someone look like shit, overlooking everything good that they do. So of course, out of all of them, Carlson is the one to do it. I told you there's a reason Carlson is the best judge in there, now you know why. Then we move on to Michelle. Michelle tries to repeat what Carlson said. She tries to give the same critiques, but of course she ends up looking like a complete bitch. Because, and I quote, evil cannot create anything new, only corrupt and ruin what good forces have invented or made. At this point, Jasmine tries to open up, explain her struggles, her difficulties, and RuPaul tries to shut her up. So Jasmine interrupts RuPaul in order to take her moments. She says she's sorry, by the way, but she basically cut off RuPaul. And she has massive balls. She has massive balls. I love Jasmine for that. Once she is done, RuPaul is not having it. She is like, I'm not giving you any support, I'm not giving you any nice words, I'm not complimenting you for opening up and showing vulnerabilities and showing all those peaks and valleys, and that's where the money is, and everything else that she said to any other girl who was supposed to be the production choice. It's Jasmine. So to Jasmine, the only thing that RuPaul says is, you are not as good as others. Because, of course, fuck your emotion, Jasmine. You don't matter. Moving on to Angeria. Alec, you nailed it. I love the color block outfit. Ru, you sold it. You understood what this is about. Carlson, I love the hair. And that's it. This is all we get for Angeria. Because at this point, once Bosco and Willow are safe, Angeria here is the best candidate for a win. But we cannot give her a win. If we would recognize Angeria's talent, she would basically win every episode. I don't think they're necessarily sleeping on Angeria. It's also a matter of, well, we need to let the viewer doubt for a moment that she might not be crowned, you know. There are other contendants in there, but, you know, between you and me, we basically know that Angeria will probably win the whole thing. Moving on to Carrie. Michelle, you have issues with the vocals. And I'm like, really? Out of all of the people that you have seen in there, you go to Carrie having issues with the vocals? Why? She has a beautiful voice. She can hold a note. What was your issue? Oh, that she was actually doing something creative in there. That was the issue. She needs to go home, so she's not allowed to do anything creative. And that is recalled by Michelle as having issues with the vocals. How nice is that? Then she tells her that her performance was too churchy. I have no idea what she means. And she cannot stand her pantyhose. I guess you have to find something that doesn't work in the outfits. I don't know. This net looked like a net. I think that would have been a fair critique that would have worked very well. I don't know why they didn't use it. I guess production memo, said what it said. Then we move on to RuPaul. You could have had more fun with the lyrics. So basically everybody else except Bosco, Daya, Betty and Willow could have had more fun with the lyrics. Why out of the 5 girls that you have in there, you just read Carrie for that? Because Carrie has to be in the bottom. It's okay, I see what you're doing. Then Carlson, thank God. The necklace and the gloves didn't fit the concept, which is a fair critique. Alec, your body outshined you. And I'm kind of paraphrasing here because he doesn't use exactly these words. And then he complains that she was leaning forward too much. I don't know what he means because we had some cutaways from the performance and I didn't see Carrie like leaning too much. What kind of fucked up critique is that? You were leaning too much? I don't know. Which take was it? Was it the first take from the challenge? The second we don't know. Moving on to Lady. Michelle. It's costumey. Fuck off, Michelle. Then Alec. I love costumes. It looks great. I completely agree. Carlson. Your voice sounded nice in the recording. Pay attention to this because we didn't see Lady record her lyrics. So the fact that Carlson is now telling her, you sound nice in the recording, it means that she sounded like shit during the rehearsal. Of course, it's Carlson, so he has a great way to say that she basically fucked up the singing. Because if you didn't stop to think about it, you didn't even realize what he was doing there. But he was basically telling us, well, you fucked up the recording, but in the end, it kind of sounded good. And then he says that she didn't stand out. Michelle, your softness and shyness will affect you in the competition. And I'm like, shyness? Like Lady Camden. Shyness. She's basically talking the entire time. All the time. She's always there, putting more peaks and valleys in her character, in other people's character. That's all she's doing. She always talks. She doesn't scream, but she always talks. And Michelle is like, well, you are soft and shy, Lady Camden. It's like she's reading from the production memo, you know? Lady Camden. Character development. The soft and shy queen who realize she has a fire for the competition. And Michelle is going on that tangent. And then finally, RuPaul. Last time you did amazing. Whatever you were doing, wink wink, apply it to everything. Make of that what you will. Okay, end of the Cryptiques. So, Diabetes wins, Angeria and Deja are safe, Candem is low, and Jasmine and Carrie are in the bottom. Conveniently. Because, of course, it makes more sense to have 2 trans women lip-syncing against each other. Especially if one looked up to the other. Especially if they are very close. Moving on to the lip sync. The editing was fair. It was one of the most fair lip sync that I saw this season because I could actually see both of the queens. Jasmine was going to be the winner, everybody knew that. But you don't have her constantly in your face. We actually see Carrie. We see Carrie doing things. We see both of them on the stage. It was normal. For once, from the point of view of Drag Race, of course. It was a normal editing. It was a fair editing. It's still not like a fixed camera that I can see both girls the entire time. That is what I would like. Or a split screen, for example. But this is the best editing that we have had so far during a lip sync. Because we had some really fucked up editing until now. And I appreciated that Jasmine stayed true to her word. You remember when she criticized queens for taking off their shoes? Because at some point she goes into a high kick and her shoe slips from her foot. And she lip syncs with one shoe. Because God forbid that you take both of your shoes off. If one falls off, that is fine. But then you keep lip syncing with one shoe on. And she did that. I couldn't believe it. That was pure camp. By the end of this, Carrie is told to sashay away, she opens her bar and it's just chocolate. Because of course it's just chocolate. We are in the middle of the season and the chocolate bar thing will probably not come on for another quarter of a season. And we're done for this episode. Sorry I've been so late to release it, but I finally made it. I didn't include the speculations because since episode 9 aired last Friday, there's really not much of a point. But if you're curious, you can find the complete speculations on the livestream, and they are all grouped in the channel's playlist page. A special thanks goes to our patrons for supporting the channel, and a shout out to our new patrons, Marina Krause Eskelsen, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, Lugo, Nelson Vargas, and Melanie Walters. If you would like to support the channel as well, you can find the link to our Patreon page in the video description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in a couple of days for the review for episode 9. Have a great day.